So let's turn our attention to your personal finances. Joining me this morning is Dr. Roger Gewolb, who is CEO of Fair Money, personal finance and credit expert. The good Dr. Roger, good morning to you.
Good morning, James.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Talk Radio. So let's talk about these energy, gas and electricity prices. We know that they've been skyrocketing, but still it may be difficult for people to understand quite why. What's going on?
Well, it is rather difficult. I mean, people are out shouting Brexit, Brexit, we never should have left, blah, blah, blah. It's actually a unique set of factors that are particular to us here in the UK. You're right. Energy prices have gone up about 250% since January. They went up 70% just in August. But the cost of wholesale gas in the UK is actually double what it is in the EU at the moment, and only because of a number of particularly unique British factors, all of which are kind of crazy. Number one, the pandemic meant that or in no particular order, meant that we didn't keep up maintenance on a lot of power plants. Number two, believe it or not, a lot of the energy comes from wind farms. There hasn't been enough wind of late. Number three, the Russians and Eastern Europeans have been having some political infighting with each other, which means that supplies from there, and particularly the new Russian pipeline, have been delayed, and on and on. There's probably about 5 or 6 different factors, all peculiar to us, which have just produced a tremendous hike in the price of wholesale gas.
And I suppose also we've got this government cap on prices, and as soon as government interferes in a market, there is nearly always an unintended consequence. And the unintended consequence is that it means that firms that would normally and probably survive this and ride it out are suddenly forced into a situation where they're selling stuff for way below the price that they can buy it. They haven't hedged enough, and it's a mess.
Yes, I'm afraid so. I mean, 2 more firms went yesterday. 4 firms have gone in the last few weeks. And I think all ministers are willing to admit that many, many more small firms that hoped to compete with the giants are going to fall soon. They're going to be absorbed. Their business is going to be absorbed by the big guys. Thank God for the price cap, because otherwise it would all be passed on to us at a time we could ill afford it. How long that will last before the big energy producers convince the powers that be that they can start increasing prices, I don't know. But that government cap is protecting us.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about carbon dioxide. That's been in the news a lot as well. Still discussions on the front pages of our papers about shortage of supply, whether it's to do with lorry drivers or indeed this lack of carbon dioxide, who only knows. The government's stepped in. It's a very unusual move. They've got an American company that provides 60% of the UK's carbon dioxide. They're kind of shoveling millions in their direction. Is it going to protect us? Are we safe? Is stuff going to be provided?
Well, it's actually the same thing, James. I mean, the fall in carbon dioxide, which is used for so many things, particularly in our weekly supermarket trolley, is nothing other than the consequence of the shortage of wholesale gas. This company, CF, which makes fertilizer and produces as a byproduct 60% of our carbon dioxide, failed because of the increase in price in wholesale gas. Once again, this government has stepped in and said, right, here's tens of millions of pounds to keep you going, so that you don't fail. They're exactly one and the same thing. This is one of the consequences.
It certainly is. Roger, thank you so much for joining us once again this morning here on Talk Radio. It's much appreciated, and also explaining some of those big stories as to why and how our lives are being affected, and indeed how prices may very well rise. We're going to have to ride out this storm. Dr. Roger Gewolb is CEO of Fair Money, personal finance and credit expert. Thank you.